Day 21 of Lent, the Tuesday of week 4. Our reading is from Mark 10, verses 21 to 22. I'm reading from the New International Version of the Bible. Jesus looked at him and loved him. "One thing you lack," he said. "Go and sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." At this the man's face fell. He went away sad, because he had great wealth. It's too cold for sitting out, but the day is so fresh and bright, so we go walking, following the paths down through the park towards the sea. Everywhere around, new small plants are shooting with that vivid brightness of early green, but still the trees are bare of leaves. Some of our best conversations are walking ones. Thoughts flow when we move. But I am still stuck in yesterday, still trying to understand what must be taken literally and what is only figurative, what I have to give up and what I'm allowed to keep. He looks at me sideways. "None of it's figurative," he says. "It's all to be taken literally." "Now, I don't think you mean that," I reply. "You aren't thinking of the implications of what you're saying." I know. That might not have been the most respectful thing ever said to Jesus, but I'm getting frustrated here. We keep walking, and he says nothing. When Jesus doesn't speak, I don't feel the tensions that pull in so many silences, like adhesions attaching to internal organs, a kind of disease. The silence that surrounds Jesus when he doesn't speak is like a drop of clear water hanging from a tap, completely clean and plain. He's just waiting for me to go on with what I'm saying, not muddying the water with irritation and antagonism of his own. I've got enough for both of us, he knows that. That rich young man in the gospel stories, I explain, he had to give away all his money because he loved his money. But some of your friends had money. They must have done. There were enough of you. 12 hungry men, plus yourself, all dropping by for supper. Are you telling me that hospitality was accomplished without any money? "Well," he replies, "they gave it away. They gave what they had to us. They didn't hold on to it." I digest this thought. "You're right, of course," I say eventually, and then I can't resist adding, "Isn't that the point of being Jesus?" He doesn't look amused. "I hope not," he says, "because being right is just one more form of currency. It has no life in it, only competition, having and getting at someone else's expense. For me to be called right, someone else has to be wrong, and that's a dismal game with no winners. But that man you're talking about, the rich man, people came to me for healing, but they don't always read their own symptoms correctly. Oftentimes the reasons they need help is because the system they're applying at the moment isn't working. It doesn't make them happy or well, and they come to me because they're ill and miserable, but my remedies surprise them. That young man came to me hungering and thirsting for life. How do I do it? He wanted to know. How can I come into eternal life? He wanted what I had. What I had was nothing. That was the point. So then I saw that his problem was double vision. What? At this point I interrupt. It says nothing about the rich young man being visually impaired in my version of Mark's Gospel. Is that true? He pauses, not to recover his thoughts, but to give me a chance to go on protesting. I do like to warm to my subject. But seeing I'm done, he goes on. When someone has double vision, they have difficulty telling which is the real thing and which is just image. Life gets confusing and tiring. You reach out for something and find yourself grasping for an illusion. Sorry. And this man had double vision. What did that have to do with his money? Well, as you go about your daily life, whatever you focus on grows. Where you put your attention, you see increase. And this man's problem lay in keeping two things at once before his eyes, one of them real and the other an illusion. He focused on eternal life, but he focused on money as well, and the combination was making him dizzy. He was having trouble telling which was the reality and which was the illusion. I think a lot of people suffer from this problem. Some people even think the spiritual realm is the illusion. I expect you know the term airy-fairy. And they think money is real, hard cash. At this point he starts to laugh, taken with the comical thought of people having their ideas so ludicrously upside down. He glances at me to see if I think it's funny too. I try. The only way of healing that man, of giving him peace, he continues then, was to remove the illusion from his field of vision, so he could focus in peace on what he really yearned for, eternal life, which is reality. He pauses, another drop of clear, perfect silence forming. Those other people, the ones who looked after us, he says softly, with a tenderness of memory in his voice that reaches right to the heart of me. Well, they weren't really thinking about money. That wasn't what they had their attention on. They only knew they loved us and wanted to welcome us. So there was no need for them to give all of it away, or what they had left of it after they bought all that bread and cheese and wine and dates and whatnot, because they already knew what was real. They didn't have double vision. Oh, I see what you mean. Light dawns. You mean he was conflicted in his ambitions. He didn't really have double vision. The air around us is fresh and clear. The fluting song of a bird arises from a tree into the blueness of the sky as we pass beneath. Yes, he did, says Jesus.